Hi, my name is Kylie Howarth. I am the author and illustrator of picture books such as Chip and Chip the Lifeguard. Also the Fish Kid chapter book series. There's 3 in this series. And Bush Magic, which we're going to be doing a drawing from today. And I have one more book out this month, Koala Stole My Undies. Let's get drawing. So today I'm going to show you how to draw a character from this book, Bush Magic. This character is Jarrah, and she and her grandpa have made a beautiful bush crown out of leaves and feathers and bits and pieces they found in the bush. So today I'm going to show you how to draw Jarrah. Okay, I would normally start off by drawing this in pencil, but for the video today, sometimes it's hard to see pencil drawings on video, so I'm going to use a marker. But normally I'd start drawing very, very lightly, and my first sketch is never going to be the final one. I'll draw it layer by layer, and as I'm happy with it, then I'll trace over the sketch finally with a marker or draw it on my iPad. So we are going to start by drawing the face of Jarrah. Her face is usually like a letter U. So you could start by drawing very lightly the U shape. And then once you're happy with how it's looking, just trace it a little bit darker. So again, I'm going to use the marker just to make it easier for the video. So I'm going to go down, across, and then up on the other side. So that's the U shape that's going to be her face. Now her nose is right in the middle of that, from top to bottom and side to side. I'm just going to do a little bump for her nose. Her eyes are just 2 little dots, and I'm going to put them quite high on the top of that U, but they're quite wide apart. They're not close together. So I'm going to do a dot over here and a dot over there. Next, I'm going to draw Jarrah's mouth. Her mouth is halfway between her nose and the bottom of her chin. So she's going to be nice and smiley today. There we go. And I'll give you a minute just to catch up. Next, I'm going to think about putting the crown on the top of Jarrah's head. She's made a beautiful bush crown with her grandpa. So her crown will probably be, the top of it will be just a little bit up from this U. It won't be straight on top of this U. I'm just going to take a little bit of a step up and draw a line across there and do the same line again. And that's going to be the base of her crown. And from here, we can start putting in sticks and feathers and all sorts of things to build her interesting crown. So you can copy me and do it the same, or you can come up with other bits and pieces you might like to put in your crown. So right in the middle of Jarrah's crown, she has a feather. I'm going to draw a line up the middle like that. And that's going to be the feather. And then some little wispy lines either side to make it look like a feather. That's one side. A few more wispy lines down here to finish off the feather. Might move that down a little bit. Okay, next she has some leaves that are nice and spiky. The leaves are actually Banksia leaves, Australian plant. So to draw that, it's similar to doing the feather. I'm going to do a line up the middle, and this one's just a little bit taller than the feather. And then draw a line across the top of that. And then we get to do the zigzag leaves of the Banksia leaf. So we're going to go zigzag, 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 all the way down. And we'll do the same on the other side. Zigzag, 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 all the way down. And then we'll do another one on the other side. Another line all the way back to the bottom of the base of the crown. a little line across the top. And then it's time to zigzag. Zigzag, zigzag, all the way down. And same on the other side. Zigzag, 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 zigzag. All right, I'll let you catch up. Draw your beautiful Banksia leaves. And once you've done that, we are going to pop some flowers in Jarrah's crown. She's got some nice red flowers. I'll show you those. Just here, you can see the red flowers. They're quite scruffy looking flowers. So I'm gonna just do some sort of scruffy flower shapes here and maybe put some dots in the middle. And then I'll do another one on the other side, scruffy flower with some little dots. And then we can start putting some leaves in. Just little curve out, curve back in. Little shapes like that for the leaves. We can have one coming down towards her face there. Yours don't have to be exactly the same as mine, just wherever you can fit some. Another one over here. You might want to put a line down the middle of the leaf. And maybe some sticking up over here as well. Jarrah's also got some long reeds in her crown. And they sort of, instead of curving this way like the Banksia leaves, they sort of curve the other way, but it doesn't really matter if yours is a little bit different to mine. So they're just some extra tall ones sticking out the very top. So once we've drawn a line there, we can sort of do another line either side. And they're our big reeds. So the top of Jarrah's hair would probably come through here. So make sure when you colour it in, if you colour it in, you put some bits of orange hair when we get to it up there. And all these other spaces, we can just sort of fit as many leaves in as you like. Might do a couple more out this side. So I'll give you a minute to fill in your leaves. Okay, next I want to put in some hair for Jarrah, but to do that, first I need to draw in two little lines for her neck. So she's got quite a skinny little neck. I'm just going to do a little line here and then another little line over here. And once you've done those two little lines, I'm going to do almost a little oval shape, starting behind this little line and go around and tuck in there, and that's the top of her jumper. So just a little oval shape around the bottom of the neck. Now this is helpful for knowing how long her hair is. I'm going to swap to my pencil again. Her hair is just past the length of her chin, so I might just do a little pencil line here so I know how long it is. And it also comes out to about sort of here, it sort of rounds off a little bit like that. But you can do hair that's all sort of the full length there, or you can try some squiggly hair, you can try something different. But now that I sort of know what shape her hair is, it kind of comes out like that and out like that. So maybe you could draw in pencil a curved line across the neck so you know what you're aiming for. Okay, to actually draw it, I'm going to start with her fringe, which starts right up under her crown here, but not quite in the middle. We're going to take a little step to the right, and then it swooshes down just over her eye and out the side of her head. So have a go at drawing a line that goes from not the middle of the crown, just out to the side, down across her face, above her eye, and out the other side. And then you can draw some more sort of hair lines in. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then her fringe on the other side starts in the same place and goes off the other side to the right. And again, it goes out past her face. So a line out there, starting from the same point as this fringe, above her eye, over to about here. And then we can put some more little marks in to show she's got more hair. Then we can do the hair, the longer bits of hair that almost go right down to her neck. So for that, this hair sort of is behind the fringe, so I'm just going to do some lines out like that. All the way around. It can be really neat or it can be really messy, whatever you like. Lots of lines for her hair. And then I might put a few more here and a bit more in her fringe. All right, I'll let you catch up with that hair. Give you a minute to do more hair. Once you've drawn in her hair, you can then see if there's sort of any gaps that you want to fill with more leaves or flowers. I'm going to put just maybe a little bit more of a flower over there to fill up that gap, and maybe have another leaf sticking out there as well. Next, I'm going to draw her arms, or her body as well. Jarrah's body is about the same width as her head. She is a character, a bit of a cartoon character in a way, so her proportions aren't exactly like a real human. I've made her head quite a bit bigger than it normally would be. So I might get my pencil again, and I might just draw a couple of little lines coming down from her face so you can see how wide her body needs to be. Her body is about the same width as her face, like that. Now to draw in her body, she's wearing a jumper, and her jumper is about the same height as her head, if you look at her head being from her chin to up about here. So it'll probably finish around about here. That doesn't need to be a straight line, it can be a wiggly line because it's her jumper. Now the sides of her jumper don't start up here, they start a step down from her neck, maybe about there. You can put a dot where you want to start if you like, and then just draw a line down and join it up to the bottom of the jumper. Again, on the other side, I'm not going to start right up at the shoulder because we need to leave room for her arms. It's going to start down here and join up to her jumper, to the bottom. So then we need to decide where her arms are going to go. So I'll give you a minute just to finish drawing the bottom of that jumper in. And I think maybe she can have one arm up, waving at us today. So before I start drawing in the arm, I'll actually think about where I think her hand is going to finish. I might have a little go with my pencil because I find the arms very hard to draw and I often get it wrong. So I think her hand might start around about here. So that means her arm is going to come in like this and like this. So you'll notice that this part of her arm, where her shoulder is a bit wider than this part of her arm. This is a bit skinnier where her wrist is. So now that I've penciled in those lines, I'm going to draw a line across here, which is going to be the end of her jumper. So do one little line there. And then I'm going to bring that line into here and all the way into the top of her jumper. It doesn't matter if you've got hair going over the top or if the hair's behind, it doesn't matter at all. Once you've done that, I'm going to connect this little line up here down to the bottom of the jumper. And where it joins in, you can put like a little crease mark if you like. Now, hands are very tricky to draw. They look easy, but they're actually quite difficult to draw. So what I do is I normally start with the thumb, and I'll draw a shape out to the side for her thumb. So the thumb kind of sticks that way and all the other fingers go in the other direction. So once I've done the thumb, then I'd quite roughly just draw some little sausage shapes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then a line back in here. Now that's really tricky to draw, and I've done a bit of practice with that. So if yours doesn't look like mine, that's okay. It'll take a bit of practice to get your hands right. The other hand, we might have it down by her side. So I will draw a line from her neck, the top of her jumper here, to about there. I probably won't get this right the first time. I would probably redraw this a few times until I get this arm right, but we'll have a go. It's going to finish just past her jumper. So I'll draw a line all the way down to here, just past the length of her jumper, and then a little line across for the sleeve. And then I'll join that up to here, but I might come down a little bit and maybe not join to the very top, leave it at like a crease and just draw a line like that. Now that's not quite perfect. I would redraw that a few times, but that's the thing about being an illustrator. It's never perfect the first time, and it doesn't even have to be perfect because you can just redraw it until you're happy. Okay, this hand will be just resting by her side. So again, I always start with a thumb, and the thumb can be like that, just a little shape. And then her hand's kind of on its side. So I'm just going to draw a little curve down like that for her hand. And then probably just a few little lines to pretend they're fingers. That one went a bit wonky, but that doesn't matter. All right, once you've drawn her arms in, we don't quite have room for her whole body. So I'm just going to do not right from the same width as the jumper, because the jumper's a bit wider than her body. We're just going to draw a couple of little lines in there indicating where her legs would go down. You can bring them down the same length as the hand if you like. And that's pretty much how we draw Jarrah. She's really fun to colour in because there's lots of different colours you can do. And when you do colour it in, she's got some little pink cheeks that are just sort of little swirls like this, which I'll just put in with the pencil because they're a bit lighter than the rest of the lines. Now I think we've probably got enough time to draw the kangaroo. Do you want to draw the kangaroo? If we have a look at Jarrah, she's got this little friend, her little pet kangaroo. I used to look after kangaroos when I was little because my mum was a wildlife carer. So that's why I wanted her to have a little kangaroo as well. So the kangaroo's head, we start with a bit of a circular shape here. And then we'll draw the ears. They're quite big, and a little nose. So I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, we'll start by drawing the little round part of the kangaroo's head. So I'm going to draw with my pencil a little circle there. And then I can press a bit harder with my pencil, or I can go back to my marker. And I'm going to draw a little dot here next to my circle, and that's going to be the kangaroo's nose. Then I'm going to connect that to the circle by drawing across here with a little line. Instead of just drawing all the way around, I'm just going to do a couple of little marks like that to look like fur. And then I'll keep following around my circle. Maybe about halfway around it. Next, I'm going to go back to the nose, And I'm going to draw kind of half a circle, or maybe a bit of a U shape from the little dot we've done up around here. And that is going to be the kangaroo's little mouth. So have a go at drawing that little mini circle there. And then we're going to do a little few dots in here to look like where the whiskers are. Then we're going to join that up to our other circle. So from the nose, we're going to come across and join it up. So you can see where our circle was, and the little nose is just poking out the end of there. Next, to draw the eyes, it's just another dot. I'm going to do it towards the top of the circle, around about here. And it looks like the kangaroo's looking up at Jarrah. And then we're going to give it a little eyebrow, just like that. And that reminds me, I forgot to give Jarrah an eyebrow, didn't I? This eyebrow over here is probably hidden by her hair, so I might just pop a little rainbow shape there for her eyebrow. Okay, to draw our kangaroo ears. Kangaroo ears are quite big and floppy. They're kind of like a leaf shape, a bit of a fat leaf. So I'll do a curve like that, and another curve back in for her ear. And then I'll do another one. It can be going in a different direction if you like, or maybe the same way. A curve, and then curve back into the circular head. Once you've done that, we can put a few little lines inside to be little hairs. Nice furry ears. And then I'm going to draw the top half of the kangaroo's body. So kangaroos' bodies are kind of like a tear shape. If I was drawing the whole kangaroo, I would do a tear shape like that. Actually, maybe it's more a bit closer to Jarrah. Maybe it's more like that, a nice tear shape. So, and then, well, actually, I'll draw this little arm. I'm going to have one arm sticking up like this. I'm just going to draw a line where the arm is. Okay, so I'm going to draw the tummy first. That's just my sketching, by the way. That doesn't have to be perfect. That's just sketching really lightly, and these are the proper marks I'm going to make now. I'm going to draw a little line. I'm following this shape, but I'm going to stop about here, this tear shape. I might rub this one out so it's not confusing you. Instead of just drawing a straight line, I'm going to do lots of little lines to make that shape so it looks a bit furry. After I've done the kangaroo's tummy, I'm going to draw this arm. So I'll just draw a line out like that for its arm. And they've got really skinny, long paws, little black paws. So I'll just do some little shapes for its paw like that. They can be little pointy paws. Now again, their wrist is much skinnier than where their arm joins into their body. And kangaroos are super skinny. So it almost starts in the exact same point and then gets a bit wider when we get to its body. Now I'll draw the back in, or the back of its neck. So you can do little lines, or you can draw one straight line down here. Again, we're sort of following the shape of this tear shape that we drew. Like that. And then the arm on the other side Can just be a little line sticking out, a bit shorter because it's on the other side. And you can draw the paws doing whatever you like. They can be waving again if you like. And then remember to keep the wrist quite little and then get a bit wider when you get down to the body. So another line joining it onto the body. And then I'd get rid of those sketch marks. And then you can see how our kangaroo's going. I might rub those lines out from Jarrah as well. So I would do this as my sort of first layer, and I illustrated Bush Magic on my iPad using Procreate. So I would do this as one layer, and it would be sort of my rough drawing layer. And to do the final illustration, I would make this a bit lighter in the background using my layers, and then trace over the top and just pick out the best lines, maybe not draw all of these lines. And you could do the same thing using a light table, or put this picture up in a window and put a new piece over the top and redraw it if you like. But if you're happy with how it looks, you can go ahead and colour it in. And that's how we draw Jarrah and her little kangaroo.